And I'll come back to this in just a second. I'm not gonna be here tomorrow. I have a bunch of appointments, and so I won't be here. But I'm gonna set you up for everything that you need to do tomorrow. There is gonna be a quiz. The quiz will be like ready, and hopefully you'll be ready as well. And then everything else that you'll need is gonna be on Canvas, and I'm gonna give you a sneak preview of what we're doing. And I'm still gonna give you plenty of time to work with it. So all of that will be done. If you haven't gotten the course syllabus to me, get the course syllabus to me. Some of you may have noticed that I'm not as worried about things like, oh, is the course syllabus late? Did you get a picture on Canvas? And what I hope that you start to realize is that there's a method to the madness. What I want is for you to be learning stuff. And so when it comes to something like the course syllabus, if it takes you a few days to get it in, if I only have a hard copy, I just don't really care, because that has nothing to do with learning. That's just a jumping through the hoops thing. When it comes to turning the rest of the stuff in, I do care. I want it to be in on time, because if it's in on time, then I know that you're on pace, and I want to be able to see it, because if I can see it, then I can evaluate your work. So the course syllabus, I'll be super flexible, because I don't care. Anything that we turned in the first 2 weeks, I think there's just the motion match exploration activity. I'm going to be super flexible with, because you're getting used to it. From now on, though, starting last week actually, what I expect is when something is due, you are going to take a picture of it and turn it in on Canvas when I ask you to. So that means if I say in class, take a picture of your work and turn it in, just do it. If it's not done, do it anyway, because then I can see where you are, and I can always give you more time. But if I can't see where you are, then I don't know what you've been able to get done, and I don't have any way to evaluate your progress in the class. And then I'm gonna say, now turn it into the bin as well, because when you turn a picture in on Canvas, it lets me know what you got done and when you got it done. But I can't actually read it, so I can't evaluate your work. So it's gotta be in here as well, so that I can actually see it. And I am going to be pretty inflexible about that, to the point that it's going to be annoying. It's going to annoy me in particular. I don't like being inflexible, but I'm going to do it. And the reason that I'm going to do it is because in general, in the past, what's happened is I've tried to be flexible, and it's ended up backfiring for people. It's ended up making it more difficult for you all to achieve your goals. And so, and I'll be happy to talk about that more, but not right now. The lab is going to be due today. So at the end of class today, with about 4 minutes left, I'm going to ask you to take a picture of your work. I'm going to ask you to make sure your name is on it and turn it into the bin. And then I'm going to ask you to clean stuff up. And all three of those things need to happen during class. And then if it turns out that you personally need more time, we can talk about it. We can make a plan in writing where you say, hey, I was working really hard. I feel like I was learning a lot. I didn't quite get done. And then if I score your work and you get a 7 out of 10, I might say, no, go finish it. You're good, and I'll give you more points if you finish it outside of class. But I don't want to make the due dates a punitive thing. But I need to see your work, I need to see what you've got, I need everything turned in when I say turn it in, okay? And then the quiz over motion graphs is going to be tomorrow. We've had 2 practices, yeah?
I was wondering if you had a typical structure to each of your quizzes, so if you had
No, go ahead, but probably not.
Like if you had some teachers do 5 multiple choice, 2 free response.
No, I don't. So what you can expect is that you will have essentially done the quiz already. So, and it may be that you've done one little part here and one little part here and one little part here. There isn't going to be anything on there that you haven't done in class and reviewed with me, but I don't generally have, this many multiple choice and this many free response.
These are based off the moon cycle.
It's based off the moon cycle. It's an astrological thing. And I'll talk about that in a little bit, about how you can prepare for that, and how you can kind of check to see if you're prepared for that. Okay, so I want to just pivot to tomorrow, because I'm not going to be here. So here's what's going to happen tomorrow. You're going to come in, you'll take the quiz. And I think those of you who are really ready, it will, for most of you who are super prepared, the quiz will take 15 to 30 minutes at the most, probably less, and then you'll move on. If it takes you longer, because you're just somebody who works more methodically and slowly, that's no big deal. So my note to the sub says you can have a long period, but you won't need it, probably. If you do need it, and you end up doing really well and feeling really good about it, then I feel fine about it too. So working slowly is not anything to worry about. But if, as you're taking the quiz, if you realize you're working slowly because you don't know what you're doing, that's something that you want to check in with. Gosh, I thought I knew this, but I don't. Even if you do end up doing well, if it takes you all period long and you're making mistakes and going back, and that's probably an indication that you need more practice. Okay. And then after the quiz, I'm gonna have you look at a program. It's online and it's called Tracker. And I'm gonna show you this right now. I'm gonna show you just a couple of quick things so that you're familiar with it. First of all, you will not be able to, listen please, you will not be able to download this. There is no Chrome download for this, okay? And since I don't want you to use personal laptops, you're gonna need to run the online version. So if you click where it says online, then it pulls up a kind of a windowed version of it. And I also, tomorrow you'll see I have a link to the full screen version. And what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna take videos, mostly videos that I make, possibly, depending on like whether, we'll give it a shot, you might be able to do this with videos that you make with your Chromebook, but I'm not counting on it. It might be that I need to be the one taking the videos. And from these videos, if you follow a set of instructions and you understand what's going on, you can find out how fast things are moving instantaneously, which is a really useful thing to know, and how quickly things are accelerating. Those are the two things that we really need to use this program for. You can do way more with this, but those are the two big things. So tomorrow, what's gonna happen is, so this is, I haven't published this yet, but this is the agenda for tomorrow. So you'll start with the quiz, and then once you're done with the quiz, you're gonna walk through the tracker stuff on your own. And I have a video here from last year. When you watch that video, you'll see there's a bunch of stuff that you don't understand because we haven't talked about it yet. And that's okay. I don't need you to understand what I'm doing, and you don't need to watch the whole video. The purpose of this video is for you to see what your goal is. If you watch me do this video, there's, just for the record, if you skip back a little bit, you'll see that I didn't intend to do all this stuff the day that I made this video. Something went a little bit wrong, and I had to start over and do a whole bunch of stuff over again. And what I want you to see is how easy it is for me. I can just boom, 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 boom. I do it, I make the graphs, I do the analysis, I find the things that I need to find. If you understand some or all of it, that's great. But mostly what I want you to do is just get a feel for what it looks like when you're using this program, interpreting graphs, analyzing data, finding information, because that's what I want. See, I found an acceleration, I found a velocity. That's what I want you to be able to do. Let's see, here. Okay, and so these are the big things that I want you to be able to do. And then when you start playing around with Tracker, there are some sample videos, and I haven't made a video yet. I'm going to do that this afternoon, showing you how to access those sample videos, but I will. And then there will be a link here. It'll just be like a minute long, showing you here's how you get the available videos into Tracker so you can play around with them. And then if you go through these instructions, this is like old school stuff. This is like this is a free program. It's really good, it's really powerful, and it was written by somebody like me, somebody old, who like is used to step-by-step instructions and like a very linear thinkers. So for some of you, you might be like, what do I do? And then you click on this and you're like, what do I do? And the answer is, it actually just has step-by-step instructions, and if you follow them, like step by step, what you'll find is it actually will talk you through the process. And when you work with other people, if you get stuck, they'll be able to help you. The work that you do tomorrow is not intended to get you here. I'm going to give you some more stuff to think about and give you some more steps, and we'll have our own system for doing things. Your goal tomorrow is going to be to just play around with the app, get familiar with the interface, see the kinds of things that it can do. Try whatever you want. It doesn't matter whether you really understand it or not. Just play around with it. If things go totally haywire, just click refresh and start over. But you don't have to worry about like, well, I still don't know how to find how fast something is moving at any given time. You don't have to figure that out on your own. I'm going to show you. Tomorrow, I just want you to just get to a point where Tracker itself, the program, loading in videos, like putting points in and doing that kind of stuff is not a big mystery to you.
Wait,
Yeah.
so should we open the main webpage or the floor?
I both is the answer. So what I like to do is have them both open, because the main web page, has all sorts of links to it, and it's got instructions and video tutorials and all that. But then if you click on that second link, it'll open up the actual program. So then you'll have both. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. Let's see. And then, so that's for tomorrow. Does anybody have any questions about tomorrow? All right. So for today, what I'm going to say is your top priority should be the lab. If you're not done with that yet, then get done with it and get it turned in. I'm going to evaluate your lab based on whether I feel like you made the most of your time and whether it seems like you're making really solid progress, which means you might have some things wrong and you could still get full credit. But your goal with the lab should be to be able to do this stuff like it's nothing. So my recommendation for those of you who are done with the lab is that you come up with your own version. So when you look at the lab, you'll see there's actually a really like sort of generic like set of instructions. The first thing is make a sketched position versus time graph from some information. You can create your own information. You don't need me to give you these things. Come up with your own and make a position versus time graph from that. And then the next thing is make a velocity versus time graph from your position versus time graph. And then the next thing is figure out some stuff, like how fast were you going and when was your speed the greatest, and then find your displacement from both of those graphs. If you think about it, that's the same thing that I was having you do on these practice problems too. Make one graph from some kind of verbal description, then make another graph from the first graph, and then find some stuff like displacement. So it's a generic approach. And so that's actually the answer to your question. That's the quiz right there. Take a verbal description, make a graph. Maybe it's a position versus time, maybe it's velocity versus time. Then use that to make the other graph. Whatever you drew first, make the other one. Then use those graphs to find velocities, use those graphs to find displacements, different time periods, like interpret the graphs. And my suggestion is, if you're done with the lab, that you should come up with your own version. Make up a set of instructions, come up with your own version, test each other, because that's what the quiz is going to look like. That's the real skill for the lab. If you haven't done the optional homework and you want to do that, you can do that. I have a book that you can look at. If somebody else has a book, you can look at that. If you haven't done the practice assignments that I gave you last week, you could do those. if you did do those practices, but they were hard for you, do them again. Like, just take this one and do it again and see how you do. Basically, finish the lab and then become as much of an expert as you possibly can at the stuff in the lab and the stuff on these practice sheets so that you can kick butt on the quiz tomorrow. All right, anybody have any questions? Okay, I'll let you know when it's time to turn stuff in.